Good evening, everybody. Billy O here, coming again from Palm Desert, California, where a lot of old people live, with an old cast, season 3, episode 4 for January 20th, 2022. We're continuing with part 2 of our special report into the Sevens scholarship. Tonight's guest is the one, the only Case Fleck. Case, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Bill?
I'm doing good, man. But first question, what the hell happened to your hair, man?
Yeah, so this summer, it was real hot in Austin, Texas. Yeah, I used to have some locks just like that. But it was real hot in Austin, Texas, and at the end of the summer, I came back to the Midwest to play rugby for IU, Indiana University, and it was just it was time to cut all the hair. It was so hot, and we took a rugby trip to New York in the fall, and our whole team went to the barbershop. So it was a good experience, and I'm liking the short hair. Got a little party in the back though.
Well, I'm a little bummed, man. I grew my hair out for this interview, especially, and you're working on a mullet, but you're coming up short, man.
No, I'm not coming up short. Just give it some time. Hey, by the time this summer rolls around, Bill, you will see. I guarantee it.
Speaking of summer, that is the time for sevens. And Case Fleck was a recipient of the Huns Sevens scholarship this last year, played for us all summer. Case, how did you hear about the scholarship?
So one of my teammates at Indiana University forwarded me something on social media about the Austin Huns. And I just checked you guys out. I checked out your Facebook page, and then I saw the application for the scholarship. And I'm an aspiring college athlete, rugby player, and I saw the opportunity that was potentially presented in front of me, and I would have felt foolish not to apply.
Well, how did playing sevens with the Huns this last summer affect your game? Did it help you grow your game a bit?
Well, it's multifaceted. It's not just helping me grow my game, which 100% the Huns are absolutely excellent for. It's one of the highest level environments that I've been a part of. But even more important, I developed off the field. I developed a lot off the field as a young man. The standard that was set at training, and just the way the guys on the team interacted with one another, the energy was a bit contagious, and I just couldn't help but want to push myself to be a better man and a better rugby player.
You guys had a good summer too, didn't you?
Yes, we did. It was a lot of fun.
Let's talk about the Red River first.
Okay.
Tell me about your experience in the Red River competition.
Okay, is that Tola? Yeah. Okay, cool. So I had never really had much experience playing like high level men's club. I'd always played just with my age group, so this was somewhat of a new experience for me. But the competition in Texas is phenomenal. I think Texas has one of the best rugby followings. There's just a huge rugby community in the whole state of Texas. You got Dallas, you got Houston, you got Austin. All three have MLR teams now. So it's growing, and it's very exciting to play rugby in Texas. Moreover, the competition was crazy, and I found myself being exposed to a lot of high level play and more mature play than I had previous experience with. I've played with a lot of really good athletes in high school and college, but the maturity at the Huns was something that I couldn't help but notice right away.
Maturity and the Huns in the same sentence. Go figure. So y'all won some big tournaments. You did well. Had your ups and downs like you do in any sevens season. I mean, sevens is just so unpredictable.
Especially with injuries.
Yeah. And we did well, but we came into the last weekend of the season, a tournament over at Burr Field, with home of the Austin Blacks. And you guys felt a little bit like you had your backs against the wall, didn't you?
Oh, absolutely. That was a must-win tournament for us to make the Nationals in Seattle. We had done a really good job dominating the Tola competition, but that tournament was very pivotal for the board to notice us as a team and invite us out to Seattle. So we very much were backs against the wall, but It wasn't like there was never a sense of worry. It was always just confidence, and we're going to keep working harder and harder for each other until we get this thing done.
Well, you also had to win that tournament to win Tola. You don't win that tournament, you don't win Tola.
Exactly. Three-peat, Bill. Three-peat.
Yeah, three-peat. I got a hat.
I've
Got
got
a hat at my office. I guess it's in my office.
I wear that thing with pride, man. I really do.
I'm right. And in that tournament at Burr, hostile territory, we had 3 huge wins. I mean, we ran the table for the day, but we beat Rugby HTX, which had a bunch of MLR players.
Oh yeah.
And we ran them off the pitch in the second half. We beat the Blacks, and the Blacks coach got a yellow card and got ejected from the game.
Yeah.
That means a lot to me. Several years ago, maybe 6 years ago now, he would talk so much shit about the Huns being one-dimensional and it was easy to beat the Huns. And here he is a bad sport and gets a yellow card and gets ejected, and we beat the crap out of them. And then you're up against the Reds again, and we just destroyed the Reds, and you know, a couple of late tries for emphasis. Why don't you talk a little bit about those 3 games? Those were amazing matches when it counted.
Yeah. Well, just first off, you always know what comes with the territory and what it means to play the Dallas Reds. So whenever you're playing them, you know what's at stake, what's on the line. And
Reds are a good club and they're very physical.
Yes. So if you're wearing that Huns crest, show up with some pride, and everyone did on that day. So yeah, jumping into that tournament, my parents had actually come down to visit me that weekend, and we just scheduled it because it was the only tournament we had this summer in Austin. So me being a college student, I usually spend the summers with them working back home. But they decided to come down and watch that tournament in Austin, which was a phenomenal tournament for them to come to. I mean, we started off the day, pool play, we beat HTX and the Blacks. HTX, I think, had 5 or 6 MLR players, and that's what I was talking about in Texas, being exposed to not only high-level play, but mature players that have been there before, they've talked the talk and walked the walk. So being a college student, that was very, very cool to see it, and it opened the door for me to grow in ways that I didn't even anticipate. So beating HTX was a big confidence booster in the day, and we carried that into the Blacks game.
And y'all didn't just beat them. You ran them off the field in the second half. You beat them bad.
Yeah. Whole bunch of ragtag.
There wasn't any doubt about that victory.
No, ragtag Austin Huns took it to some MLR players. So that one felt real good. And then we obviously were the 2 teams in Austin Huns and Austin Blacks. So there's just a lot of history, a lot of rivalry, respect on both sides, but it felt really good to beat them at their home field and see them kind of turning on each other while we were just scoring, walking back, not saying a word.
I just want to emphasize mad respect, no doubt about it. I mean, you got to respect the Blacks. I mean, they have been the standard bearer in Texas for a long time. They've been to the national finals a bunch of times. We recently have really improved our recruiting and our coaching and our fitness and a lot of things. And, you know, last year we won TRU in 15s in the COVID season. And so, I just want to emphasize, I got nothing bad to say about the Blacks.
No.
It just made me happy to see their coach, who's a little bit salty, be frustrated enough and to get a yellow card. It kind of was just seasoning on a great win. So then you beat Grand Prairie, I think, in the semis.
They gave us a lot of tough competition this summer. We beat them multiple times by only a conversion, and we met them in the finals in Houston. Our first tournament in Houston, we met them in the finals and beat them 14-12. So
they're coming along. They're stepping up their game and playing 15s this year. Good. It's going to be a tough year for them because it's hard to field a D1 15 side. But anyway, you're undefeated on the day, and then there is our nemesis. We beat them twice in tournaments already this year, but we really had to beat them to win Tola and to send a message to the selectors. And not only did we beat them, but that last try that Red rammed in from like 20 meters out, I mean, it was just it was like they quit playing. And again, no disrespect to the Reds, but that happens when when the momentum goes against you, and y'all just played fantastic in that game.
Absolutely. Yeah. That was one of I will always remember the 30 minutes leading up to that game. There was so much confidence, unspoken confidence among the boys. We were just positive contacts, giving each other high fives, embracing, talking about what we wanted to do against the Red, visualizing how we were going to beat them. And then once we started getting into our dynamic warm up, I looked in every man's eyes, and I knew we were going to win that game. It didn't matter who we were going to play, their skill level or anything. If you've got 7 to 12 guys that are willing to tackle and hit and work harder every play for the guy next to them, you're not going to beat a team like that. So we started playing against the Reds, and it was close at halftime. I think it was 12-7 or 14-7.
Yeah.
And Adam Scheidler he lit a fire under all of our asses. Not that it wasn't already lit, but he really, at that his halftime speech was amazing. He got me smiling, angry, inspired, motivated, all in about 30 seconds. And then, because that's how sevens goes, you got about a minute for halftime. And we scored right off the second half, right when the second half started. And you could see the body language of the Reds. They got
a yellow card right away for a cheap shot.
Yep. Big Mike hit me in the head. But anyway, yeah, but anyway,
for no reason. I mean, it was just stupid.
That's how he plays. But yeah, it was a really good game. And then after that, after we beat them in the final, they wished us good luck in Seattle, and I'm glad they did.
Your parents had to get a kick out of that day, didn't they?
That was just such a wonderful day, such a wonderful weekend. I was so happy that they were able to come down to Austin. My family has never been to Austin, Texas before, prior to this summer. So it was really wonderful to show them where I had been the whole summer, and show them the Huns, the team that I had been working with and training with. And it was a great day in general. But that tournament meant a lot to me because just especially after beating all those big teams, HTX, the Blacks, the Reds in the final, especially in the manner we did. I had an embrace with my parents after that game, especially my father. I shook his hand and he brought me in for a hug, and he told me he was very proud of me. So I will never forget that day. And I was so happy that I could make their trip well worth it. The Huns could make their trip well worth it, not just me.
So that was priceless, and it's on to nationals.
Yeah.
And we didn't run the table. We lost to the two teams that went to the finals. And you know what? Y'all played great against Chicago.
Yeah, man.
Y'all were just a pass here or there away from winning that game. And that game was a defensive game, just like the final was for us. And this team, I think, really won a lot of games with its defense, not just by scoring points, but by playing together and playing good defense. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. That was one of the main points of emphasis at training sessions for us. We knew we had guys that could run. We knew we had stellar athletes in open space, and we knew we had guys that wanted to move the ball. So we really were never worried about our offensive attack. And in sevens, it's easy to get lazy on defense, but it's killer if you get lazy on defense. The team will just run up 21 points on you real quick if you're not working every single phase on defense. You got to work hard because we have six guys in the line and a sweeper. So you got to make sure the defender to your outside. You got to make sure you have his inside cut. Otherwise, they'll just tear you up. So in training, we worked defense, and that obviously showed to help us have a lot of success this summer.
Well, you guys took home some big scalps. Old Blue, Life West, a makeshift team of Marines and really good rugby players from Southern California, Carlsbad somewhere. I forget the other win we had.
I think we beat Oceanside, didn't we?
Yeah, that was Oceanside. That was the Marines and the really.
Oh yeah, Oceanside was really good.
Then there was a team from Seattle, a club. Athletic club from Seattle. We actually ended up recruiting one of those players that's playing 15s for us now, Nick.
What's his name?
Nick.
Nick Taylor?
Yeah, maybe
What the wind
that's his last name, but Nick, he came down the center.
Ricky's
And so tell me about those games we won that day. Let's not talk about the losses. We finished 5th in the nation. Like you said, the ragtag Huns were the giant slayers. Talk to me about those games that weekend.
Yeah, so I mean, right when we showed up to the venue, this is Seattle's MLR team's venue. We immediately went onto the pitch, and Coach Scheidler just let us be, and just said, "Have 10 minutes to yourself, and just visualize success for tomorrow." And I really took that to heart, and so it was really cool. I looked at Shamal Shoemaker, and I just saw him smiling, and he nodded right back at me. And then I looked at Ricky, and I saw the same thing. And I looked at Brendan Curl, and he just gave me a handshake. And it was very similar. It was a similar moment to the moment we had right before we played the Reds in that final. It was a cool, calm confidence. And I'm glad we had that little moment together as a team the day before the tournament started, because once the game started flying, I mean, once the bullets started flying, I knew I had 6 guys that had my back absolutely. And we didn't beat them because we were necessarily more skilled or anything. It was just we were a better cohesive unit working together, offense, defense, all facets of the game, even set piece.
And that's a serious ass environment too. I mean, all of a sudden,
Oh yes,
it's not like a middle of the Tola season team in Corpus Christi or tournament in Corpus Christi, where you play a couple of weak teams in your pool and a pretty good team in your pool, and then you're on to the semifinals.
yes.
This environment, everybody's good. And
Every
it's a
single
bunch of
game,
grown ass men and a bunch of MLR players. I mean, it's a different deal.
yes. Yeah, it was crazy. This was definitely, this Seattle Tournament Nationals was the highest level of competition I've ever been exposed to, both in terms of skill, maturity, decision making. Everything was just
So you're a college kid here on scholarship, and all of a sudden you're playing in nationals against MLR players with the Austin Huns. That about sum it up?
Yes, not taking a moment for granted. We made sure we didn't take a single thing for granted.
So tell me, globally, and by the way, one more question about nationals. Y'all beat Life West, which was probably the biggest scalp of all. Those guys have won a lot of championships in 7s and 15s. You take this picture here, everybody's happy. And this is you down here next to Adam with the hair.
Next to Adam. Yeah.
And then you got to walk 100 meters down in front of the stadium.
Oh,
what was that feeling like?
That, man, I remember talking to Brian Wellborn about that, but he said he had never seen just random fans applaud a Sevens team after they walked off the field. And it wasn't like Huns fans. It was just all the people in the stands that you can see in the picture. Everyone was supporting their own team. And they saw what we did against Life West, and I think they just couldn't help but applaud. They were happy to watch. It was such a good competition. Both teams high level, working their asses off. But we definitely were the underdog, and we embraced the scenario and made the most of every single opportunity we got. So walking off the field and having about 1,500 people clapping and saying, "Let's go Huns," when they're not even from Texas, it's it's something special. And
by the way, wearing our vintage throwback jerseys that we brought back, these were the jerseys style I played in back in the 70s. And if you look up San Isidro Rugby Club in Argentina, who's our mother club, who we started after, they still wear this basically same jersey to this day. So that meant a lot to me as an old fart. And you walk down that 100-meter gauntlet of cheers. Brian has complete Coach Wood and says, "Keep the jerseys."
Yes, the collars, the collars on the jerseys, Bill, wonderful. But yeah, I was so happy, and I have that hung up in my room back home.
I've got like 3 jerseys from when I played still in my closet, and I said this to Shamal, that thing better be in your closet when you're 65. Or
Bill, my kid's gonna wear it, man.
There you go.
My kid is gonna wear it.
There you go. All right, I know you got to go to study hall or something. You're a college senior still.
Yes,
So
I got a little time left.
tell me what the Huns scholarship meant to you this last summer, play on the field, off the field.
It was hands down one of the most meaningful experiences and opportunities that I've had in my life. As I said earlier, I was able to really develop my skills on the field, especially with restarts, being an aerialist, jumping for restarts, things to look for in the defense. That was really developed. But honestly, I would say I developed as a young man even more than I did as a rugby player. Not to say that the environment does not promote high-level play at all. It's quite the contrary. My rugby skills developed as much as they possibly could. I just, being a college student coming down to Austin, was a bit of a unique experience. And I met some wonderful, wonderful guys. My first day at practice, I couldn't even get to the field before there were 5 guys shaking my hand asking, "Are you one of the scholarship players? Oh, we can't wait to get started." And I saw the way that a lot of guys on the team carry themselves. Ricky, Red, Brandon Curl, Alex Reese. The list could go on, but they just make you want to be a better person. They make you want to do even more with your life. So finding environments like that and finding people like that, it doesn't come around too often. So I definitely would love to come back to Austin this summer, and I'll be a Hun forever.
Sweet. Yeah, it's pretty, once it gets in your veins, it's hard not to be a Hun. Obviously, I'm still hanging around these guys after 47 years. So
it was one of the best decisions I have ever made coming down.
So you'd recommend this to other college kids?
Absolutely.
With the summer coming up?
Absolutely, especially if you are aspiring to play high level. It's something you need to do, and not even like you need to do, you should want to do it, because you're going to develop in ways that you can't even imagine or picture. You're going to come back from that summer, you're going to go back to playing college, and it's going to be easy. So,
if you'd hung around, if you weren't still in school, a lot of those guys you played sevens with played in the academy.
Yes.
With the Gilgronis, and,
yes.
Got some professional coaching, got some, select side matches. We have a good partnership with them. Austin is a great place for kids, I think, to come on a lot of levels. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Outside of rugby, the city is just phenomenal. The music there, any music you want to listen to, it's all live. It blew me away. The food is top notch Mexican food. But yeah, just all in all, great city, and the Austin Huns are a phenomenal program.
Cool, man. Any final things you want to say to the boys or to other college kids out there? Anything at all?
Keep pushing to all the guys out there aspiring, and to all the Huns this summer, we're coming for it.
3 words. What do the Huns mean to you?
Ooh, that's a good question. Love, aspiration, development.
Sweet. All right, man. Look, I wish I'd met you in person. It was fun to watch you play. I hope you come back again this summer.
Absolutely.
Start your work career in Austin, play some 15s with us for a while. And
yeah,
it's a great group of guys to be a part of. And, we're going to keep building, and we're really all about recruiting young guys to come in and continue to develop their game and grow through youth, not like trying to land some foreign guy for 115 season. So
the Huns do a great job of growing the game in the States.
You fit our mold of what we're trying to do, and it's really, really nice to hear you being so enthusiastic about it. Yeah. Appreciate you very much. Thanks for taking the time to talk a little bit.
Yeah. Thank you, Bill.
Take care, man. Huns.
Up the Huns.